Hi, this is Bo Janitor. I thought I would continue my YouTube channel. I've been feeling like I should continue it for a while, so I'm finally going to be doing that. This one, I wanted to specifically do in line with the idea of secondhand masters. So that's kind of what I hope to give, I guess. What I mean by that is I thought about making a whole playlist of videos. It's just called Secondhand Masters IO Psychology. And so what that would mean is that I'd be making videos, and then every video's content would be based off of what I'm learning in my master's program. So therefore, it would be allowing people who maybe can't get a master's degree or considering it to get a secondhand master's. That's why it'd be called Secondhand Masters. So this is kind of, I hope to be a part of that. This video is literally just about me going through, and there's been 3 main takeaways that I've learned from my first semester of house psychology. I'm going to do 5 total, so I got 4 more ahead of me. So after 1 semester down, these are the top 3 things that I take away and what I've taken away. The biggest and the first thing, one of the biggest and the first point I'm going to hit is that income has to do with income and life satisfaction. So the more money you make, the more happier you are, right? Well, not necessarily. And there's a study that our professor had us read this semester, and we've discussed it many times since. He even discussed it before giving it to us, but we discussed it more and more since then. And the main takeaway of the study was that, it was a graph of life satisfaction in relation to income. I don't want to go on too much or go too crazy about it without making the main point. The main point is that income increases life satisfaction. It does, but only necessarily up to the point of your needs being met. This has lots of implications to it. So one of the implications is that money doesn't necessarily buy you happiness, because once you get those needs being met, more money doesn't make your life better. So let's say my needs are met and I'm making $40K a year for me individually. Do I need to make more than $40K? Okay, maybe up to $50K might help your life satisfaction, just making sure all the needs are met. But beyond that $50K, that just might make my life more complex and not even make it better necessarily. Now, just as an example I think of for myself, I want to be able to provide for my family. So providing for a family adds some complexity to it. So let's say, just to make it simple, I need to make $80,000 a year to meet all the needs of my family. So once I make $80,000 a year, I don't need to try to make more necessarily, because that's enough money for our needs to be able to be met. Anyways, this also has implications in the sense of people who decide people's pay. So if you're trying to decide, should we hire a bunch of people and pay them a really small amount, or should we hire maybe less? And this would be an argument for, okay, let's hire 3 solid people and make sure that we can pay them up to their needs being met. So there you go. So that's point 1, is that income increases life satisfaction only to the point of needs being met. That's a big takeaway. The second main takeaway from this semester in Industrial Organizational Psychology Masters of Science is that learning is best when you learn by doing. That sounds really simple, but it's not something that is understood as well as we think it might be. Learning by doing is typically and very often the best case and the best way to learn. For us, we studied it in the realm of leadership development. So how do you make the best leaders, or how do you train the best leaders? So let's focus on the leadership development aspect. So you're in an organization and you want to have solid leaders that lead your team really well. Was it just given? Is it a trait? Is it yes, that's part of it. Some leadership skills are just people just have them, or have some of them. Like there is a just genetic or predisposed aspect to it, but there is the other half too. And within every person is an ability to get better at their leadership. So what that could mean is, instead of, okay, let's say we have, there's a person named Jim, and you want to have Jim become a better leader within your organization. You decide, instead of hiring somebody on the outside, and that's going to be a little bit too unpredictable, so you're just going to use somebody that you think has potential within. So you choose Jim, and then how are you going to develop him? Well, you could have him do this month-long training, have him go to a bunch of classes, and that would be fine, and that could be a good part of what you're doing. But I would argue that the better route to go with Jim is to put him in plan out what responsibilities you're going to give him to start to learn how to be a leader. So maybe he has the same responsibilities that he has now, but you just add a little bit of something and take away something else he doesn't need. You don't want to overwhelm him. But anyways, so let's say that you're going to give him specific responsibilities that he needs to. And part of being a good leader is follow-up calls. So you're like, okay, Jim, I want Jim to be able to become a better leader. So let's let Jim do some follow-up calls with the people, and I'll have everything like written out for him. He just needs to do it. So there you go. You give Jim that task, and he does that for a month, and then that gives him some good experience, and now he has that responsibility he's good at. Now, okay, let's give him another leadership responsibility, or opportunity he can grow. Now he has his own team, but it's a small team. It's just 3 of them. It's a small team of 3, and he has stewardship over them. So there you go. That would be an example of helping, Jim learn through experience. So that is an example of my second point. Learning through doing is arguably the best way to help somebody learn a trait, especially leadership. So that's point 2. Point 3 of my top 3 takeaways of my semester is that automation for tasks. Instead of automating entire jobs, we should hope for automation of tasks. So to explain this idea, it can be intimidating to think about, there's all this new AI and these new forms of technology that are so complex and so profound and so are just so hard and difficult to use, or they're also so advanced. Like, how are we gonna? It's kind of scary. Like, are these things going to be able to take over my job? And that's not necessarily true. And a solution to that is you as an individual finding ways to automate specific parts of your job without automating the whole job. What I mean by that is, let's say that you are a mechanic. I have to get some car work done on my car, and you're worried about, I guess being a mechanic is pretty technical. That was not going to be taken over for a while. Maybe we could do HR type stuff or office. Let's say secretarial. So you're going to say, oh crap, like I'm a secretary and AI could take over my job. It's like, well, instead of being worried about AI taking over your job entirely, that's going to be a little while if that's even possible, but who's going to know how to run that AI that's specific to those jobs? Who's going to know how to do that? It's like, well, that's still being figured out. That's your opportunity. So if there's certain AI that gets introduced that can help your job, I say it's best to do that. For example, the secretary job, there's maybe some AI calendar that you can use. So there you go. You become one of the pioneers of learning how to use it in your own business. You have a secretary job and you actually have a opportunity to use it. A lot of these people who are developing these technologies don't have a specific scenario that they can apply these technologies to. So you being able to do that is awesome. It is a great opportunity. So then you take that AI calendar and you start to use it in your business. and learn how to, you become one of the best people who know how to use it. Well, now you have a skill that a lot of other people don't have. You know how to use this AI calendar and there's you're still going to be able to get compensated because you're the person who knows how to do it. AI is not going to be able to take your job, or automation is not going to be able to take your job. And I would say this idea of automating tasks is kind of fun. Like it gives you a green light to play around with technology and learn. And I personally found it fun this semester. I was able to better learn some of the automation and AI that is available to us as students and as part-time workers. Anyways, so those are kind of my three main takeaways of my first semester in a Master's of Science, IO Psychology, Industrial Organizational is what IO stands for. I'll go back through the list of three things that I learned. One is income increases life satisfaction only to the point of needs being met. Second one is learning through doing is the best way to learn most times. And then the third point is automation for tasks, not automation for entire jobs. So those are three of the biggest takeaways I had. Obviously, there was so much more I learned and so many great experiences I had. Can't sum it all up into 3 points, but if those are 3 points that you understand and that you are able to really think about and really use in your life right now, you've just become more educated. You just got a dose of a secondhand master's degree. Yeah, it's not the same as being in person like I am, but you are arguably way farther than anybody else who never had the opportunity to do it at all, right? You're at least, if you take these three main things, I'd say you might be even halfway. You might have, if you can really understand and use these three things, I'd say you probably got half of a semester's worth of IO Psychology. Obviously, this is a big summary, so you'd have to kind of dive into those more and really truly understand them and maybe read the research articles on them. But at least that, anyways. But if you do that, you have a little shortcut to get where I am. And and as well, there's people who know a lot more than I do, so there's other great resources out there. And still, I'm learning a ton, and I'm hoping to learn and also help you learn, and we can have this cycle of learning together and growing together. That's the hope, and hopefully you enjoyed your little dose of secondhand masters. And this is Bo Janitor, and thank you for your time. Peace out.